So tell us about the second thing. There's this picture with a sore toe.
I mean, one of the first things that happens in a person with diabetic foot is that as time goes by, a couple of things happen. Number one is that the nerve endings will die off, and they'll get numbness of the feet. So sometimes what happens is they will probably stub their toe somewhere, they'll hit something. Or another common thing is an ingrown toenail. They may have an ingrown toenail, or they may go and clip their toenails and clip it too much, and they don't feel pain because it's insensitive, it becomes numb. So that's one thing that happens. The second thing that happens is that because of their diabetes, the immunity goes down. They become immunocompromised, which means the immunity goes down. They can't fight infection as they would normally. And the third thing that happens is they have their blood vessels become narrowed. So with all these things on board, what happens is a person will have a minor injury. In normal times, what will happen is it will heal. Nothing happens to it because it will heal. They will be all right, and maybe just some pain for a while, maybe some mild infection, antibiotics, and okay. But in a person with diabetic foot, what happens is it will progress. It will not get better. So the infection progresses. The demand then becomes higher for blood because now you've got an infection on board, and the infection is becoming worse. And because the arteries are narrowed, the demand cannot be met. There's not enough blood going down, not enough nutrients going down. It will not heal, and it will progress. What then happens then is that the infection becomes worse. The infection starts ascending, and ascending means it goes higher. That means you start up with a toe, it goes up to the forefoot, it goes up to the ankle, and goes higher and higher. And the worst thing that can happen is that it will then go into the blood. Whatever infection goes into the blood. And when that happens, a person then there's a high chance of developing other complications like organ failure. They can go to renal impairment. They can go into renal failure, and a lot of other problems can happen. So that increases the mortality. Hence, it's very important. Number one is to prevent it. And number two, to prevent, after prevention, the next thing to do is to treat it early if a person gets it. And get medical treatment early.
So that was a amazing, glory kind of picture that one of your patients that had an infection from the toe right up to the thighs. What will happen to this guy? Will he amputate?
A lot of times, more often than not, the patients, I mean, sometimes, for one, they may go for treatment, then they get scared. Of what's the treatment going to be, and also they tend to hope that it will go away. They'll hope that one day they'll wake up and wounds will heal and everything goes away, but it doesn't go away. It gets worse. And so by the time they reach us, a lot of times, sometimes you can't do very much. And what we do is to save their life. And the only way to save their life, take off the leg. So they end up with a major amputation. It's either a below knee amputation or an above knee amputation. So, you're seeing a patient like this, you're looking at a patient and say, okay, this patient has become very, very sick, and you want to do something for them. You want to save it as much as you can, but sometimes looking at it, the leg is going to kill the patient. So the only way is to take off what's going to kill the patient, take the leg off. It's very difficult to accept for a lot of people, but sometimes you've got no choice but to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing is to prevent this from happening. I mean, if you get it treated early, this will never happen.